innocent light of God, pure beauty, pure perfection. In this moment, it is the call and the willingness to embrace this pure perfection that has been hidden, waiting to be accepted, to be remembered, to no longer battle in resistance to this love, to this light, to this purity, to this innocence. In this moment is the exquisite opportunity to surrender into the hands of God all concepts of a separate self, all concepts of difficulties, problems, surrendering all concepts of the temporary, and truly accepting through the heart that only love exists. That there is no battle to be won. That there is no problem to be solved. The only problem is that you believe that you are separate from love, from God. And since you are not separate from God, there truly is no problem. The problems made up in the mind, in the belief of separation, have no validity, have no purpose, have no value, have no reality. The mind that made up the problems is not what accepts the healing, the heart accepts the healing of love, invites the healing of love to enter, to transform, to eradicate the false identities. The miracle of love is the happiness of the everyday life if the miracle of love is accepted. To accept love's transformation is to open your arms and say, yes, have your way with me. Take me and unravel everything that I thought I knew. Take me into the light of love, And let me remember and let these false identities be turned to ash, falling away in the wind, being swept away, and then realizing they never existed. First the acceptance, and then the realization. They never existed. All the stories that seem to hold the world in bondage, you can let go. All of them. You have the power within your heart. You have the power within your divine intention to release humanity from its made-up, imagined, separate identity. The power of love. The power of acceptance of the holy light. The power of allowing the light to transform all that you made up, one by one, step by step, day by day, in holy dedication, in holy devotion, allowing, inviting, accepting. Lead me, show me, decide for me what is most helpful in every moment. Lead me, show me the way of love. Lead me, show me the light in every beloved. Lead me and show me the peace and the harmony that is all that exists. I surrender this dream and all the nightmares held within the dream of separation. Gratefully, gladly, happily surrendered. And in the deep gratitude of love, the heart sings, "Thank God I was mistaken. Thank God it wasn't real. Thank God only love is real. And thank God the power of love can transform all mistakes, all mistaken identities that have been held so dearly in confusion. And finding the prayer of the heart, help me. Help me to embrace guidance in every moment. What would you have me say, dear Lord? What would you have me say to serve the truth of love? What would you have me do, dear Lord? What would you have me do to serve the truth of love? What would you have me see, dear Lord? What would you have me see? to serve the remembering of love. Where would you have me walk, dear Lord? Where would you have me walk to serve the truth of love? The happiness of accepting and embracing, I don't know how to walk this path of life. Show me the way. I don't know who I am, what I am, where I'm going, what anything means. Help me. Lead the way for me. I will follow. And as I follow this journey in prayer, open your heart to offer love, to walk the way of love. And to accept and breathe in every moment, praying with every breath. Only love is real. Only peace is real. Only joy is real. I will follow. And breathing deeply and fully into that willingness. That in every doubt that arises of the truth of love, that you can breathe and come back to remembering your purpose. Connecting to the holy breath and filling the heart with a yes with every breath. Breathing now, filling the energy bodies with the yes of love, with the willingness to trust beyond any knowing that the power of love is the divine healer, that the power of love is the divine physician, that the power of love will lead. Breathing and allowing and accepting that in every moment there is holy choice. Choosing love, choosing peace, choosing harmony, and offering that love and peace and harmony to every beloved. Breathing, allowing, coming into a holy union and a holy communion with the divine power of love. And in that divine, holy moment, the little self is forgotten. The little self's memory bank disappears. The little self that was so invested in knowing, getting, winning, proving, disappears in that holy instant, and love is remembered. And all the while breathing, allowing, accepting, inviting, trusting, opening to faith, faith in the power of God, faith in what is not seen and what may not be heard but is accepted, faith that love is the answer and love is the way, faith that the strength of God is within you, in the divine spirit, in your soul, the soul that unites all life, the Spirit of God united as love. And continuing to breathe deeply and fully, simply opening the heart through intention and radiating love, undefended, every moment, divine choice. And continuing to breathe, affirming that here in the infinite circle of love, we are one. Opening to that divine oneness, opening and accepting all beloveds beyond the body as the Holy Spirit of love itself. Affirming in this moment that this sanctuary is filled with love, accepting that only love exists. Affirming in this moment and accepting in this moment that this universe is all love, and that only love exists. Accepting in this moment that there is only one presence here, the truth of love. And within this truth of love, this life force of love, we live and move and breathe as one. Breathing, accepting, trusting. Allow this prayer to open the heart. Allow this prayer and the power of this prayer to awaken within you more deeply, more fully, that you are willing to be led, and that you will no longer use your own perceptions of what you think you know to make decisions within this world, but to open to the divine guidance of love's healing and love's calling, the ease of the way home. The Blessed Mother, an aspect of the Blessed Mother that is known as the Queen of the Forest, that holds the vibration of the earth, that holds the vibration of love within all life force within the earth's plane, will lead you, as with all divine beings, opening to that divine following, to let go of the arrogance of being perceived to be in charge and willing to follow, willing to be shown the way. Rainha da floresta, I will follow where you lead. I am going where you lead me, I will go. Rainha da floresta, I will follow where you lead. I am going where you lead. Rainha da floresta, I am going where you lead. I will follow where you lead me, I will go. I am going to my mother to be healed. She takes me in her arms, and to her I must go. Rainha da floresta, I am going where you lead. I am going where you lead me, I will go. Rainha da floresta, I love you so. I will go on with my mother, where she leads me I must go. I am going to my Father to be healed. I am going in the truth and to be real. I am going to my Father, and it's true. Oh, my mother, lead me home. It's now up to you. Oh, my mother, I am coming to you, Father, let me be. I am coming to my mother, in my mother, let me be. I am going to be healed in the heart of love. I am going into love. The Rainha da floresta is calling us home. Come, my sisters, come, my brothers, come with me, let's go. Opening to the simplicity of being led. Opening to the simplicity of trust. That the divine is always present, is always available for the divine guidance that is so necessary, that is so real, that is so holy, and transformation is available through that guidance. Every decision in the everyday is being called to be surrendered and to be open to a new way. Where would you have me walk? Where would you have me see? Where would you have me go? What would you have me think? How would you have me live? Show me what's most helpful to nourish the body. Show me what's most helpful in every moment. What will serve? What will bring more light? What will bring more healing? Show me the way. I surrender. With every surrender, with every relinquishment of the personal agenda, with every relinquishment of the thinking and knowing of the ego's separate self, the belief that there is a separate self, in every moment, new life begins. In every moment, healing is lighting the way as you join, as you relinquish the purpose of your perceived life and return it to its true purpose, to remember love. The dawn has arrived resplendently. The dawn has arrived of a new day. My Father is there. That is where He is, here, in the dawning of the new day. Every day, the opportunity of remembering. And my Mother is here, right here, on the altar of love. The dawn has arrived, illuminating resplendently the new day. My Mother is here with open arms and with her roses of crystal purity. And the heart became resplendent and bloomed with all that love. And my Mother is here, oh yes, she is, and my Father is here in great jubilation. And all divine beings are singing in the light of love. Resplendently illuminating, it is dawn and the sun has risen. In the resplendence of the divine light, we remember the truth of divine union. The sun has risen, illuminating. It is the truth of love that is now living in every heart and as every heart, remembering, embracing, accepting. Amanheceu, resplandeceu, amanheceu, um novo dia. Meu Pai é lá, Ele que Ele está, minha mãe está, é o seu altar. Amanheceu, iluminou, resplandeceu um novo dia. Minha mãe está lá, de braços abertos e suas rosas, puras e de cristal, resplandeceu o coração desaboroso, todo é seu amor. Minha mãe está lá sim, lá está meu Pai, em grande júbilo, resplandeceu, iluminou, e a rovada o sol nasceu. No resplandor da divina luz, nosso Mãe nos traz, menino Jesus. O sol nasceu, iluminou, vamos receber o Salvador. Ele é menino, Ele é o amor, que agora chega aos corações. the resplendence of life, the resplendence of the movement of life is waiting to be recognized, to be embraced, to be lived. As the false falls away and dies, not a tragic death, just a falling away of the false, falling away of the illusion of separation, accepting the light, accepting the peace and harmony that is just beyond all that you think you know. And in that letting go, healing illuminates and transforms. Love is the funeral pyre. Love is the funeral pyre where I have laid my living body, in that recognition that I am not the body, returning it. All the false notions of myself that once caused fear and pain have turned to ash as I neared God. How simple. Being led, following, surrendering. And all the false notions of myself that once caused fear and pain turn to ash. What has risen from the tangled web of thought and sinew now shines with jubilation through the eyes of angels and screams from the guts of infinite existence itself. Love is the funeral pyre where the heart must lay its body. There's no sacrifice here. There is no loss. What disintegrates, what leaves, is the illusion of separation. The illusion of separation that has held everyone in the belief of pain and suffering. It is a great leap of faith to accept that it never existed. It is a great leap of faith to accept a new self, to accept the light as real, and the power of love is real. The leap of faith. To accept that everything that you thought happened, and everything that you thought was real about your life were just concepts. And that all the while that these concepts were running, being heralded as news, love was existing, waiting to be remembered, waiting for the child of God to return to the arms of love after playing in the pain of separation. Now, finally being tired and wanting to come home, the door is opened and you are gladly welcomed. But every beloved must walk through that door willingly, without the need to grieve a sense of loss, as the self-identity of separation turns to ash. The heart resplendently realizes the illumination of the new dawn, the freedom to finally breathe, the freedom to truly love, because it's what you are, the freedom to forgive and let the lies go. Love is the funeral pyre where I have laid my living body. The material level that is already recognized as temporary and yet feared for its temporariness, wanting to hold on and control and identify with a temporary identity. Why not come home to reality now instead of battling to preserve a false identity? Trust, faith, and surrender are the keys to the kingdom. Faith is essential. Faith in what you don't know. And the world says, how could that be? How could that be the answer? When the whole world has agreed in a false life of competition of how much you know, and the competition of being right, and the competition of winning in the belief of a world of scarcity. Why do you think that the belief in the scarcity of the world is so powerful and so strong? Because it closes the door to reality. If you accept the scarcity and the temporary life, you turn away from the eternal. The eternal is all abundance. Nothing is missing. All is love. All is harmony. All is peace. The mind that has made the belief in scarcity cannot reconcile a life of peace and harmony and joy. One or the other has to be revered. To revere a world of scarcity is to self-punish, is to self-attack. All the false notions of myself that once caused fear and pain were built on the belief of scarcity. And the insatiable appetite of the ego to prove and never actually get is a game that it has been accepted. But none of it's true. And love has to lead you there. Love has to take your hand and you have to offer your hand. Love willingly takes your hand, but you must offer your hand. You must offer your heart. The willingness to be shown a new life, a life of freedom, a life of peace and harmony that has nothing to do with the body. Absolutely nothing to do with the body. Every beloved will come to the recognition that there must be either an acceptance of a body or the recognition of spirit. And the two cannot join. If you believe that you're a body, you believe in the pain and suffering that go along with it. If you believe that you are a body, you have to believe in death. You have to believe in limitation. You have to believe in scarcity. It's the allegiance and it's the ignorance. It's what you've always accepted. I must be this. This is where I experience what I think I feel and what I think I think. It must be real. And over again, all the divine beings and all the masters keep pulling you toward the relinquishment of the temporary identity, to accept that you are the eternal spirit of love, whole and complete, and that you are the master that uses the body to be surrendered into the hands of God, to only be used to express comfort and blessings and love. And that you will no longer battle with the body, that you will no longer accept the body identity as a war zone of getting, preserving, winning, proving, or that you believe that your safety comes from the relationship with the body, but to recognize that your safety is really beyond safety. You are the light of God that cannot be harmed, that cannot be changed, that cannot be diminished or damaged. But that also on the other side of the same coin cannot win, cannot prove, cannot conquer. Because there's nothing to conquer. Everything is already yours. Everything of truth is already yours. Everything of love is already yours. You are that love. The kingdom of God is yours. The kingdom that you made doesn't really exist except in your own mind. The willingness to accept transformation, the willingness to be transformed, is your choice to trust in the healing power of love. Is the journey. All the false notions of myself that once caused pain and fear have turned to ash as I neared God. As you move toward and allow the guidance to lead you toward the truth, the embrace of love, the devotion, the dedication, the yes in every moment. In that yes, all the false notions of the self turn to ash, because you are coming so near to God that the lies can no longer stand the light. And no thoughts of separation can survive. What has risen from the tangled web of thought and sinner, the tangled web of thought, all those thoughts that are constantly running, non-stop, assessing, judging, opinions, expectations, plans, decisions, all built on me, on the me, that tangled web that lives in the pretense of being in a body, the sinner, now shines with jubilation through the eyes of angels as you surrender. It is a tangled web. It's a tangled web of pain and suffering. And the most amazing element of it is that the resistance to love at the beginning is more prevalent than the wanting of healing. That's how upside down the mind is. The concepts of separation convince that it's a great battle to have, to preserve your right to be right, your right to be separate. And you do have that right to be separate if you choose. But love's obligation is to illuminate the pain and the suffering that you are causing yourself, so that you can see it for what it is. That your perception of knowing is not your friend. That your perceptions that come from what you think you see with the eyes of the ego, which are the eyes of the body, when you look with those eyes, you are looking through a filter of the past and making decisions and conclusions based on a life of pain and suffering. Nothing of truth comes through those eyes until those eyes are truly surrendered into the hands of God. It would be most courageous, it would be most helpful to be able first to acknowledge, I don't see anything with these eyes that has any reality. Nothing that I see has any truth. I see through the past. I see through a distortion of separation that does not exist. I see separate bodies that I have identified and given identity to that I believe makes sense. But in those distortions, love isn't recognized, and love isn't invited. But the courage to be able to finally say, everything that I think I see is a distortion of my own made-up mind that believes in pain and suffering. Everything that I hear filters through my concept of separation. It has no reality. But in the surrender, in the willingness to have these false notions of self that once caused fear and pain to turn to ash, is the yes to God and the willingness to follow the guidance of love. The guidance of love is alive. It is not theoretical. The power of guidance, the guidance of love, is life, the life force of God, communicating with you, communing with you on your invitation. But as soon as you say, I know, the power of love hears clearly that you don't want that guidance, that you are putting your faith and your trust in what you know from the past. It's very clear. It's a clear demarcation, moment to moment, to open to the holy guidance of love, the power of life itself, the power of truth, the power of the light of God wants to lead you. Not because it gets brownie points for leading you, but because it is loving. Because there is nothing in God that wants you to suffer in this belief of separation. There's nothing of God that wants you to struggle. The love of God, the love of the universe, wants happiness to be in your awareness, wants you to be in the blessings and the ease and the grace of the life itself, of love, to return home. But the only way to return home is to let go of the world and the identity that you've made in the belief that you are separate. To accept that you can't even really be separate, so you must be living in a delusional state, which is not a condemnation. It's just calling it what it is, delusional. To believe that you are without love, to believe that you are marred in some way, that you are less, needing to try to prove that you are more, is delusional. And to believe that you can figure out your own way through the mind that made up separation is delusional. The mind that made up pain and suffering is not going to lead you to love. And it is not going to help you surrender what you made up. Love is the funeral pyre, and it is a funeral pyre. Love is the power of transformation, and transformation is the burning away of the delusion, the burning away of a self-concept of separation. Thank God that power is available. And thank God what you thought you knew has no relevance. It's not good or bad. This is the funniest part of all, that so much time is spent on trying to figure out the differences between thoughts that are right and thoughts that are wrong. What is correct and what is incorrect? What is good and what is bad? It's all delusional. It's all made up. It doesn't mean a thing. That's why there's no upset in the master's heart, because there's no right or wrong. There's no better or worse. There's no correct, incorrect. There's no light and dark. There's only light. There's no scarcity. There's nothing to lose. And there's nothing to gain. That's all the temporary illusion. And yet, the spirit of love recognizes that beloveds are stuck in a delusional belief system. And the spirit of love uses that structure to heal. That does not have anything to do with trying to take over that job and be the one who's going to be the decider of what is good and bad. It's the stepping back. Step back and follow. Now, by its identity, the belief of separation has at its center an arrogance that says, I must be in charge. I'm learning to conquer. At the same time of the learning to conquer, it drags with itself the belief of being a victim. So it's fighting with itself constantly. I'm a victim. No, I'm the power. No, I'm the victim. No, I'm the power. Love doesn't argue. Love doesn't fight. All of the seeming battle is with the ego and the ego. But there's no love there. And everything, when you raise the white flag and say, I haven't got a clue how to remember the truth of love, then all creation sings, because there is finally surrender, and love can enter where it is invited. Every moment there is a choice. There is never a neutral place. always there's a choice occurring. In the belief of neutrality, of being in a trance, you're making a choice. When you are in the trance of your habits, of knowing, of deciding, of not questioning what is running, you are making a choice. And you can choose again. You can choose for love. And love will always answer. Always. Love will answer. The ego doesn't believe in prayer. The ego has no patience with prayer. Prayer is for suckers. Prayer is for idiots that think they know and don't want to accept that prayer has purpose. But prayer is the heart's recognition. Please help me. Please help me. Open the doors of my stubbornness. Open the doors of my resistance. And let me learn to ask for help, for guidance, to be shown the way. In a practical life, every day can be a day of asking for guidance. You wake up in the morning, every movement, divine love. Where would you have me be today? How would you have me serve today? What would be helpful to use for nourishment? Show me the way. New life, every moment, new life. The ego sees this as sacrifice. The ego sees this as losing control. I make the decisions on what I eat. I make the decisions on when I drink. I make the decisions on what I know. I make the decisions. I've earned that right. I'm an adult. I make the decisions. Those decisions are the same decisions that you have made for lifetimes and have never changed and have never brought you to healing. Those decisions are based on the past, are based on scarcity, and are based on the belief of separation. That's the only place that those decisions can come from. They come from impulse. They come from reactions to the past. They come from the belief of scarcity, the belief of getting, the belief of needing to prove, the belief of needing to win, the belief that you don't have enough. All of it is being run, and every decision that comes through the mind of the I know is coming from the upside down world of repeating the same things again and again and again. Love is the funeral pyre. It's not a condemnation. It's the realization that I truly, happily want to be transformed. That whatever is true, I'm willing to accept. That whatever is real, I'm saying yes to, and I don't have a clue, but you will show me the way. Love will lead. Always, love will lead. Love, guidance, will free you from personal outcomes. It will free you from personal outcomes, but that truly means that you're actually willing You won't accept guidance if you're attached to knowing and personal outcomes. If you already, here's one of the tricks of the ego. The ego says, oh, okay, we're going to pretend we're surrendering. I'm asking for guidance. Show me the way. But I've already decided what I want as an outcome. And I want that outcome to be what I want, and then I will ask for guidance and pretend. And say, oh yes, I hear guidance. It's exactly what I wanted. That's the game. To let go of personal outcomes. What does that mean, personal outcomes? That means that the identity has decided it knows what it wants through habit, through impulse, which is a craving, a perception that I have to have this, something outside in order to, I have to have it look a certain way, I have to have it be a certain way, I have to get these certain things in order to feel better, in order to feel that I'm winning. Whether it's buying something, whether it's eating something, whether it's relationship, it doesn't matter how it reveals itself or how it shows itself. It's the belief that there is something out there I have to get. And I want these personal outcomes because this is what I've always used to alleviate the fear. Mm-hmm. To alleviate fear, I have used addiction. The world believes in addiction being addiction to substances, addiction to relationships that are out of control, addiction to buying because I have to fulfill something within and that gives me escape and that gives me a feeling of worth and power and control. And all the while, the guidance of love is wanting to lead you to the eternal love where you can be free, where you can actually live as your true self, the light that you are, that is free of addictions, that is free of concepts, of impulses, of reactions, of the belief of winning and the belief of scarcity. All of that is held within that I'm the decider. But guidance, love's calling, will free you from all personal outcomes. And you will be at peace because the personal outcomes are based on scarcity and based on not having. Imagine being free to follow. I will follow. I will follow where you lead me. I will go. Because the free heart is the truth. I will follow. I will follow where you lead me. I will go. I will trust. I will put my faith in all the masters that have come to serve humanity, in all the divine beings that are communicating constantly if you're willing to listen, if you're willing to hear. The guidance frees you from personal outcomes, which you pretend are not the cause of the pain and the suffering. It's a pretense. And yet, if you look at your history, you see honestly, my impulses, my knowing, my controlling, my wanting, my decisions, my belief of separation has been the cause of my pain and suffering. It hasn't come from anything else. It's come from my own decisions of thinking I know, and judging, and assessing, and having opinions, and then having guilt and shame about, am I good enough? Have I done it right? Am I going to be in trouble? Do they like me? Well, I don't like them either. And protection, defense, all the games that are played constantly are being called to be let go. That love is the funeral pyre that will burn up the false life that never really existed except through your own imagination. Never existed. The guidance frees you from personal outcome and opens you to Holy Communion. How easy is it to be guided? It's so simple. It's so simple. But it must be chosen because you have free will. You have complete free will. And you must choose. It's a temporary place of choosing. When you return home to the freedom of love, choice disappears. Because choice was only when you believed in duality. When you believed in love and hate. When you believed in love and fear. When you choose love and you return to love, there's nothing to choose in. It's just love. Nothing to choose. What has risen from the tangled web of thought and sinew now shines with jubilation through the eyes of angels and screams from the guts of infinite existence itself. Screams from the guts of infinite existence itself. Screams with joy. Screams with light. Screams in peace. Love is the funeral pyre where the heart must lay its body. Being free. To live freely is to live without fear. To live without the fear of death. To be without that cement block on your feet as you walk the death march of the belief that you will die and the fear of the unknown. Die now. Die now in the true sense of letting go of what you think you know. Because that's really the pain and the suffering. How easy is it to live life letting the truth just shine and not battling with that truth. No longer battling. No longer having opinions that want to contradict. No, I know what I like. I know what I don't like. And I'll make my own little separate kingdom out of my likes and dislikes and my opinions. And I'll live in my separate little kingdom. But it isn't really a kingdom at all. The word kingdom kind of denotes that there's loveliness there. But there isn't any loveliness. It's a prison cell that you decorate with shiny objects. Say, oh look, I bought this here, and I bought this here, and I made this over here, and I got this reward here, and I got this diploma here. And I take pictures of myself all the time to remind me of who I am, that's the prison cell. Instead of throwing open those doors and walking into the light, out of the shadows, out of the perception of separation. It's just a perception. It has no truth. Everything that you see through your perception comes through the filter of separation. That's all that you can see through the eyes that were made by separation. Until your heart is freed, until your mind is freed from its knowing and given back to God, to open to not the brain, but the wisdom, the divine intelligence of the universe. When you return to that divine intelligence, to that divine wisdom, you are that divine wisdom. And you will never, ever again self-attack. You will never, ever again be looking for something outside yourself to get, to win, to prove, to satisfy the insatiableness of the body identity. There was a movie and a play that was called The Little Shop of Horrors. And in this story, this giant plant keeps yelling, "Feed me," and eats beloveds. That's how it gets fed. This giant plant. This is the ego. This giant, insatiable wanting from the outside. Feed me, feed me, feed me. Devouring everything to have enough, to get enough, to prove enough. Again, it's not a condemnation, but there's no love there. It's a distortion based on being separate. And the truth is, there is no separation. No one is separate. Nothing is separate. Everything that is in creation is the oneness of God. And within that acceptance, within that heart melting, everything returns to a divine equality, where there is nothing that is of different value and different levels and different degrees, and there are no differences. All is love, expressing itself in its divine dance. It's divine light, accepting. One of the teachings of love that is so powerful is to accept, I am upset because I see something that is not there. It's not there. And the mind says, well, I just don't accept it. I don't accept that teaching. I'm determined that it is there, so that I can be right, so that I can stay in control. A perception of control that means absolutely nothing and has no reality. To accept that every time you are upset, which includes every element within the emotional body and the physical body of disturbance of any kind, any little reaction of, I don't have what I want, I don't have what I think I need, That's a disturbance. That's an upset that has no foundation. I am upset because I see something that is not there. Every little worry, doesn't matter what it's about, is a belief in upset. And it is the belief that you're believing in something that is not there. And to accept that fully, if you could accept that teaching completely, fully, this is just one teaching. To accept it, hook, line, and sinker, in every moment. Not in condemnation, not in self-judgment, not in hatred, in love, in loving kindness. I'm so glad that what I thought was so upsetting is not there. It's not there. Is this a leap of faith? Of course it is. Of course it is. Does the ego agree? Of course not. If the ego agreed, it would be a lie. By its mere resistance, you should be happy because that resistance says, oh, this must be the truth, because I don't like it. And who is the I that doesn't like it? The made-up self. The belief that there is a separate self. When there is any inkling, touch, hint of disturbance, you are believing in something that is not there. You've made something up. And to accept this is to follow. Rainha da Floresta, I will follow where you lead me, I will go. By the mere truth of that prayer is the acceptance that the Divine Mother is only leading you to love. So you're willing in that following to return to love, which means that whatever you thought you knew, which was not really there, that divine guidance would lead you to let that go. To surrender that false concept and to be led back to love. To come nearer to God. And let the burning away of all the false identity as you come so near to God that the fire of love burns away all the concepts of separation. And you happily accept it. You happily embrace. I will follow. I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. And I will celebrate the new day. I will celebrate that the sun has risen and life is new as I let go. Illuminating, resplendently the new day. I will follow. Simply, easily, consistently, because consistency is honesty. To be consistent, to not go back and forth. Well, I had a bad day, and I've decided it's a bad day, so I want my control back. I want to have my own opinions. I want to have my own decisions. I want to get what I want to get. To recognize there's no love there. There's no truth there. And begin again. Forgive yourself for forgetting and return to follow, to the guidance of love that will lead you to the openness of communion. and love will burn away all that is surrendered. The bonfire of love that will take everything that is offered, that has been made up, take it all. I don't know anything. Take it all. I'm willing.